For regular videos on ancient cultures and forgotten civilizations, please subscribe. If you would like to support the channel and become part of our ancient history fan community, visit patreon.com/World of Antiquity. Well, now that we've completed our trip, we wanted to share with you our top 10 sites from Mexico and Belize. It's been a couple months since we've been there, but we've had some time to think about it, and we're going to recommend to you the best places to go. So if you're ever deciding to go there, you'll know which places maybe are the ones to go to and which ones you might want to skip. Now, I don't know what Cassie's top 10 is, and she doesn't know what mine is. We're going to find out together right now. Welcome to the Antiquities Travel Guide. Follow us to different countries as we search for ancient artifacts. If you too wish to explore the ancient past through travel, we'll help you plan where to go, what to see, and how best to enjoy what you encounter. In this series of the ATG, you can accompany Cassie and me on our trek through the Yucatan Peninsula, homeland of the ancient Maya. Come on, let's go. So Cassie, we'll count this down. What was your number 10 spot?
Lamini in Belize.
Lamini in Belize. Yes, I remember that well.
Yeah.
We just went through Orange Walk Town, right? And we had to drive through the Mennonite territory on dirt road.
That was interesting, seeing like the girls and boys in their uniforms playing separately.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was a little scary because our tire pressure gauge came on. The tire was low, and we were like, should we keep going? We still got a ways to drive on this dirt road where there's not going to be any gas stations or anything.
And wasn't that one of our first days?
It was our first day in Belize.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, we went, we did it, we made it.
Yep. We kept driving even though the tire pressure light was on.
But why did Lamini make your top 10?
I just thought it was beautiful. Yeah, they had some really nice buildings, and there was one building which had, I believe, masks on the side.
Yeah, the big masks. Yeah, that was
those
a great.
Were really cool.
Yes, it was a great site. It was right on the lagoon. Really liked it. All right, my number 10 site was Stampak.
Stampak, okay, cool.
I liked Stampak. That was one of our early sites we visited, I think on the second day. And why I liked Stampak was, we also had to take a dirt road to get there, although it wasn't nearly as treacherous. But I love the architecture style, the Cenote style architecture. I just loved that look. And they had a huge temple there with several levels.
We couldn't climb it though, right?
We weren't allowed to go up it. That's the one downside. And it's a site that not a lot of people visit. We had I think there was like one other group there, and that was it.
And that was after we'd already been there for like 40 minutes or an hour.
Yeah. And beautiful white buildings. It made my top 10 because I loved it so much, but it isn't like, the best site, but I remember even on the day we went there, I was telling you, I think this might be my new favorite site.
Well, you said that every day.
Yeah,
every site we went to.
I'm an enthusiastic person. Yes. All right. So what do you got your number 9?
My number 9 was the Grand Cenote.
Ooh, the Grand Cenote.
Yes, this was
Tulum.
back in Mexico, in Tulum. The things I didn't love about it were that it was a bit touristy, very developed. There were like these wooden staircases.
Yeah.
And
Tulum is a very heavily touristed city.
Yeah. It was cool though. I mean, there were turtles swimming around, and the water was really clear. It was a bit chilly, but really nice and really interesting. Not something that you can do anywhere.
And that was really our only cenote we visited.
Yeah.
And it was a good one.
It was fun.
Of all the cenotes to go to, I think it's one of the best.
Yeah.
All right, my number 9 was Lamini.
Nice.
So yes, so we had close. You had a number 10. I had a number 9, but yeah, I love Lamini.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got for your number 8?
My number 8 was actually Chichen Itza. I know.
What?
I know. Who would put Chichen Itza at number 8? For me, the crowds were killer. It just kind of,
she wasn't a big fan of crowds
for me. And there were all these sellers soliciting things. You couldn't walk 2 steps without someone saying, hey, hey, look over here. I've got something to sell you. And the line to get in was incredibly long.
Oh, it took a long time.
It was expensive. Parking was bad.
It was the most expensive site we visited.
So there were all these terrible things.
But it still made your top 10.
It made my top 10 because it was amazing. There were these gorgeous buildings. The pyramid is insane. The ball court was crazy.
Oh,
that was the craziest ball court. We couldn't even figure out what it was because it didn't look like any
huge.
ball court we had seen.
Yeah, it was magnificent. The structures there are extremely well. I mean, they've been reconstructed, obviously, but they were in really great condition. And if you're just thinking about just the architecture itself, it was probably the best, right? As far as what you get to see. Yeah, it's just that other things detracted somewhat. If you're not a big fan of crowds, that's not a place to go. But yeah,
or it is a place to go, but to know, like, there are a lot of downsides to this. It's not going to be a perfect experience unless you manage to get a private tour somehow, which I don't think that they do.
I have it a little higher on my list, but
of course you do. Any other person would be like, whatever, I'll deal with that.
No, I put a museum at number 8.
Okay.
We went to I went to 3 museums. I think you went to 2, but it was the best of the museums, and I thought it's worth mentioning. And that was the one in Merida, the Grand Museum of the Mayan World. That's the English translation.
Gran Museo del Maya, right?
Del Mundo Maya. Yes.
Yes.
It was a great museum. They had a lot of cool artifacts. They had even reconstructed parts of some of the cities we visited, and there was a lot to see there. So as far as museums go, in the whole area that we went, that was really the biggest museum, better than Cancun, better than the one in Chetumal. So if you're going to go to a museum, I think in the Yucatan, that would be the one to go to.
Gran Museo del Maya. Yeah.
Del Mundo Maya. Yeah, Del Mundo Maya. Yes.
Okay.
All right, so that was my number 8. So what's your number 7?
I put the Barton Creek Caves for number 7.
Ooh. 2 places with water so far.
Yeah, well...
Neither of which are on my list, but I did like them.
So we may as well mention them. But yeah,
Yes.
the Barton Creek Caves were very cool. It was really dark. We had headlamps. We had a tour guide. What was his name again?
Carlos,
yeah, and he was telling us about the history of the caves. The reason it's kind of low on my list is the road out there was really scary for me. I mean, it was probably
She was
the
freaking
worst
out at
road
certain
that
places
we
on
had
that
been
road,
on.
yeah.
And we were kind of lost. We didn't know for sure that we were going in the right direction.
I remember the look on your face when I was like, we're going across this creek.
Yeah, I was like, we can't. It's too deep. We did it, of course, but
And then we get there, and they're like, "What? What's the big deal?" They acted like it was nothing.
Right, the locals are so used to this stuff, but I'm used to paved roads, and
It was like, just as far as the atmosphere of the cave, it was super quiet and everything. And we went when there was no one else there. We were the only ones there. And I expected it's not super crowded all the time, but like just being in there and all the
stalagmites and stalactites,
both, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah, there was one I think that I really liked, which was like a jellyfish stalactite.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was one part even where we they were really low and we had to duck down to get through.
Toward the end. Yeah.
That was our second. We went to a different cave. We were going to go to the ATM cave.
Right.
And when we found out, first of all, how much it was, and that you couldn't take any pictures at all, we're like, what's the point? And
Yeah,
we didn't
the
go.
ATM cave, how much do they want? Like 120 for each of us or something?
A lot, yes.
And then also said no phones. You have to leave your phones behind, no recording equipment at all. And we're like, okay, great.
So-
like, we would love the experience, but we're here to
Plus, it was like going to be
share.
like a 3-hour thing, wasn't it?
Right, it was going to take a big chunk of our day.
So we went to Barton Creek, and it was great. Yeah. My number 7 was Pecan. It's right near Spuhil. So as we were coming into town, we saw it. It was right there. And I don't know if it made your list, but it was. I love that site.
It didn't.
It didn't make your list. See, we've got some differences of opinion here. But I love the architecture. That was another one where I love the buildings, the style of the building, and there's a lot of buildings to see there. We walk in, there was a moat. What was left of the moat, and then you go in, and then there's like this huge temple, and then you could walk around it. It was like it has all these like, it wasn't like they're not like just straight rectangular buildings, right? There's all these different like branches of the buildings and different levels, and I just love that style. And
Should I go to my number 6?
Yes, let's hear your number 6.
Stampak.
Oh, so you like Stampak too?
Yeah, I did. I actually liked it more than you, I guess.
Oh, that's right. You have it higher than I do, and you have it higher than Chichen Itza.
I liked Stampak. I thought it was really beautiful, and like I said, we had the place to ourselves. Obviously, that means a lot to me, to not have to share the space, to be able to kind of like take your time and not feel any social pressure, and you can just enjoy it at your own pace. I think that really makes the experience more valuable. Even if the buildings are beautiful at other places, they're beautiful at all of these sites.
Yeah.
Really, and the experience I think is better when it's more private.
Yeah, so go to Stampak. All right, I had as my number 6, Caracol in Belize. And that was the one that we had to travel 4 hours on a dirt road where all the lumberjacks go. And we were kind of nervous, wouldn't you say, going there?
Yes, Caracol. Okay, so Caracol is actually my number 5. I'll just say that now since we're so close. So
Okay.
it's your number 6, my number 5. Caracol, we actually had to scrape the mud off the tires.
We had to
because
stop,
it got so thick that we were like sliding
We were sliding
around.
down the dirt road. Yeah, it was just caked with sand or whatever. It was
The
like a
red
light
clay.
dirt. Yeah, it was
It was-
clay.
yeah.
Yeah. So I had to scrape it, and and then there was like, you have to go over like this really like this bridge over this huge creek. Remember that? There were a couple of guys there, but we were like,
Yes, yeah.
and we had to go over this like. You felt like, and there was even a rickety bridge too that I think
Yeah.
we had to go over. So I don't know if that's why, but sometimes when you have to go through these travails to get to a place,
means
you
more.
appreciate the place
Yeah.
more, right?
Because by the time you get there, you've been sitting in the car for how long? It took like 4 hours.
It was 4 hours.
And
They
and
said it was going to be 3, but it took us 4.
that was the one where we saw the girls. Like shortly after we got there, these 2 girls showed up
In a
like
taxi.
a sedan, not 4-wheel drive or anything, like a little.
Yeah. And the taxi driver's like, oh yeah, like it was nothing.
Right.
We thought it was an ordeal.
Yeah, and I guess they did it in like 3.5 hours. So the locals drive a little faster, and they can do it even in a regular little car. They don't need the 4-wheel drive. But yeah, the site itself was beautiful. I remember the view was really incredible.
Yeah, we went up to. This is the tallest building in Belize. This pyramid. In fact, it's a candidate for the tallest pyramid we've been on. We went on 3 pyramids that all claim to be the tallest, and this was one of them. And Koba was one, and the third one was
Colac Mole.
Colac Mole. They're all kind of right around the same height, but it was a beautiful view.
Yeah.
And there was a lot to see there. There was some good ruins. The staff actually live on site.
And they have a little basketball league too. I saw their sign.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
I
play
didn't even notice that.
basketball.
Yeah. Now, this isn't a site that you can probably get to easily in the rainy season.
Well, it had just rained. That's why the roads
Yeah.
were so bad.
So yeah, but I would recommend that if you go there, go in the dry season, which is in the winter, because and that's when we went. It still
So
rained
you never
anyway,
know.
but it'll probably be like all washed out in the rainy season in the summer. So, but if you can do it, you should go. Or you could take a taxi too.
And then a great thing about Caracol too was that it was really near that waterfall. What was it? Big Rock
Right,
Waterfall?
we went to Big Rock Waterfall afterward.
Yeah.
You can stop there after or before.
Take a dip.
So that was
That
fun,
was
too.
really fun.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful, not crowded, and there were these cool like steps to go down to the water. We both swam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good time. So that was your number 5?
Yep. What's your number 5?
My number 5 was Ezna.
Nice.
Yeah, Ezna. That wasn't crowded either, and that was a place that we thought would be crowded because it's like it's a major site, wouldn't you say?
It was beautiful. Edsna's up there for me.
Yeah, you probably have it higher.
Oh yeah.
Ezna has a lot. The main Acropolis with the building of the 5 levels and these other temples around it is just fantastic. But even outside of that, there were other parts as well. There was the ball court there too, and just it's a great site. And I think it's underappreciated. Not a lot of people go to it. They all go to Chichen Itza. They all go to Uxmal. And then all along the coast of the eastern coast of the Yucatan, of those places they go to. But Ezna, definitely worth going to.
Edsna is amazing. Yeah. Well, okay, so number
that was my
4.
number 5. Yeah. So what's your number 4?
My number 4 was Ekbalam.
Ekbalam.
Yeah, so that was the one you'll see in the video. There's this not a frieze, but like
up this huge staircase, right? This giant building. On the sides, there are but especially on one side, on the left side, there's this beautiful sculpted
carving.
frieze. Yeah. These reliefs.
Was it a snake's mouth?
It was a huge gaping snake's mouth.
Yeah, that was so cool, and the view from the top up there was really amazing. That was a little crowded, but not bad.
It was, it is in the touristy area. It's not far from Chichen Itza.
And some of the other buildings were really amazing too at that one. I mean, there was
a lot of
to
buildings.
see.
Yeah, it was a pretty good site. Like lots of different buildings to look at. That was one of my faves too. I have it a little higher.
Nice. So I think we're in agreement about some things.
Yeah.
Some of the really good ones.
That was the day we went to Chichen Itza, and it was what a contrast it was when we did that.
Yeah. What was your number 4?
My number 4 was Uxmal.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
My number
first
3,
day.
actually.
Oh, okay.
So we're coming into agreement here.
Yeah, Uxmal. I mean, some spectacular buildings.
Yep.
The Governor's Palace, the Pyramid of the Magician.
Yeah.
The Nunnery Quadrangle, all that.
The Nunnery Quadrangle, I think, also goes by the Temple of the Doves, right?
The temple. No, that's your favorite temple. That was next to the Great Pyramid. There was a Great Pyramid there too, and then right next to that was the Dovecote or Temple of the Doves.
I really loved the Temple of the Doves. I just thought it was so beautiful. Like when we walked up to it, and it's kind of tucked away, like in the back at Uxmal. And I was
just recently on
wow.
my Instagram, she said that was my favorite building.
Yeah.
At that site.
It was really beautiful.
But Uxmal, definitely worth going to. It is one of the more expensive places, but I think it's worth going to.
Definitely.
And when we went, it wasn't super crowded.
No, it wasn't bad. But we also got there early.
Yeah, getting there early is always a good idea.
Early.
Yeah. All right, so that was my number 4.
And my number 3. So your number 3 is what?
Oh, your number 3 was.
My number 3 was
Uxmal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my number 3 was Chichen Itza.
Perfect.
Okay.
So why did you love Chichen Itza so much?
I'm mainly going by the buildings, right?
Yeah.
The structures. I mean, well, you've seen the images of the pyramids. I mean, the buildings are just unbelievable. And then there's like that Temple of the Jaguars where they had remember all the skulls on it, and then they had jaguars on it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. There were some out-of-the-way places you could go at Chichen Itza where there weren't as many people. Of course, that's not where the great buildings were, but...
And some of the stuff was closed off, which was kind of weird.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's a reason why it's popular. Well, one is that it's kind of near all the touristy sites, but another reason is it's pretty amazing, like, just the size of the buildings, the structures. I mean, it's just, yeah. Anyway, so I had that as my number 3.
Okay.
What was your number 2?
My number 2 was Eds Now, which we just talked about.
Oh, yeah, Eds Now.
I loved it so much. It's just those big, beautiful open spaces. And it was also pretty private. We got there early, I think, too. We probably started our day there. But yeah, it was just really, really beautiful. There was that main complex that we hung out in for quite a while. And yeah, I mean, all of those buildings were gorgeous.
Yeah.
And there were all these iguanas all over the place.
Those
were so fun.
She loved the wildlife.
Animals. Yeah. The iguanas were really cool. They were pretty big too, like that big. And we saw them. We saw them at Ezna, and we also saw them at Uxmal, I think.
And remember also, on the way to Caracol, we saw all kinds of different birds.
In the road.
Yeah, in the
they
road.
looked like road runners or something. They were really colorful and big, like big birds. We still never figured out what those were. I think we asked when we got there.
Yeah, and they didn't know.
Yeah.
My number 2 was one that you already mentioned, Ekbalam.
Ekbalam, cool.
Yeah, loved Ekbalam.
That was really cool.
Yeah, and even though it's not what I call a major site, it was really enjoyable to go there, and I love the building, which means I think we both have the same number 1.
No way.
We might.
Awesome. Yeah, you're right. We haven't mentioned this one. Of course, neither of us are going to leave this one off. It was incredible.
Colac Mole. That's right. Wasn't that place great?
Oh my God.
It was a 2.5-hour drive to get there. From the entrance, we paid. Remember, we had to pay. We paid at the entrance to go in, and then you pay halfway.
Yeah.
Right, and then you pay the entrance fee.
Yeah. So we go in. How much was it when we went in? Like.
It's in the video.
Like $10 each or something like that. Yeah. So you drive in and you pay, and then you're
then
driving
to
for
get
like
to
an
the next
hour.
access road.
It was like an hour, and before
it was 2.5 hours.
Well, before we got to the next.
Oh, it was like an hour to get to the next stop. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we're like, wait a minute, how many of these are there? And they were
Yeah.
like, oh, there's one more.
Yeah, but they meant at the actual park.
Right.
But yeah.
That was crazy.
But why did you
Worth
like
it,
it so
though.
much?
It was well worth it.
I know why she liked it.
Okay, so the main reason that I loved Colac Mole was because that was the first place that we saw howler monkeys. The howler monkeys were so amazing. Yeah, they did sound like that. They made these loud, like, guttural sounds, and it was very
freaky.
intimidating.
I think that's why they did it.
It seemed like they were chasing each other in the trees or howling at each other.
Or at us.
Yeah, or at us. It was hard to say. I'm not a primatologist, primatologist. But that they were super, super cool. But it wasn't just that. I mean, the howler monkeys were cool, but we did see and hear them at other sites too. I think the other really incredible thing about Colac Mole was the main pyramid that we climbed.
Yeah.
And the view from the top.
It was, I think, of the three pyramids I told you about before that claim to be the tallest, it was the most fun to go up.
Yeah.
We went to the top and it was tall, and then we look around the back of the
like,
pyramid
wait
and
a
there's
minute.
another set of stairs going up.
It kept going, and we thought that we were at the top, and we're like, wait a minute,
There's
a
more.
little bit more.
Yeah. Some people were actually going back down.
Right.
They didn't even know.
Notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to go around the back to go further up.
Yeah. And there were a bunch of other cool buildings there as well, and there were stelas there.
You loved the stelas and the glyphs.
You know me and my stelas, yes, because that's the historical documents. But Colac Mole, plus the history of that particular place, it was the center of an empire, so you feel like you're in the Mayan Rome or something, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would have to be my number one too.
Yeah. I'm glad we're in agreement. So you have to go to Colac Mole if you go to the Yucatan Peninsula.
Yeah, it's the must-see place to go.
Definitely.
Yeah, the road at least isn't all dirt. It's very potholed, especially as you get near the end.
Not
it
nearly.
It wasn't a dirt road though.
Not nearly as bad as some of the other
It's
ones.
funny how
that
we were
went
freaking out on that road, and then that was nothing compared to what we would later see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that is our top 10 places. We probably had more than 10 altogether, but for what we loved in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico and Belize.
Definitely go visit.
Hope it proves valuable to you on your travels, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to learn more about the Maya and at the same time gaze at some gorgeous photography of Mayan ruins and artifacts, I recommend the book The Maya, Voices in Stone. I'll leave a link to it in the video notes. I post photos from our travels over on my Instagram, so head over to @DrMiano to see more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.